Welcome to Discuss With Us podcast, where we are unpacking the world through a Christian lens. I am your host, Darcy Durkowski, along with my husband, Brian, and our intention is to pose topics, trending and otherwise, and unpack them with the help of some research, insights from our different backgrounds, and even some listener input in a way that is thought-provoking and entertaining. So get comfortable, grab your favorite beverage, and discuss with us.
Welcome back to another episode of Discuss With Us. Is anyone out there?
Have you all abandoned us since we kind of abandoned you guys?
We abandoned ourselves a
yeah,
little bit.
last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I don't even, has it been 2 weeks? I was trying to think.
It's got to be at least 2 weeks.
I know it's been 2 weeks, I guess, but I don't know if it's been 3 weeks. But we have had a rough go.
Yeah. Things have not been all roses over here.
No, we've had the flu. I got it first, and I was down for not like a whole week or anything, but the better part of a week for sure. And then
we're in our third week.
Okay, so not bad.
Yeah,
but
today's 3 weeks.
Okay, well then, then I was getting over it, and we were like, "Wow, this is crazy. Nobody else got it." And then that weekend, I'd been good for like 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday night, our oldest started not feeling good. And then
everyone started not feeling good.
Yeah.
The most astonishing thing was that I wasn't sick.
I know. Well, I was going to say we shouldn't even say that, but whatever. Yeah, so that's been circling the household, and it has. We assume it's been the flu. It's got to have.
Yeah, for as long as it is, it's definitely the flu.
And yeah, it lingers. It hasn't been terrible. Like, I picture the stomach bug being worse.
Yeah.
This has not been like crazy symptoms, but the boys still have like fevers, and so they're just down. And it, like I said, it has lingered. We're on week 2 basically of this.
Yeah.
So it's been tough. And one of my New Year's resolutions that I like said out loud to Brian was I was going to be more grace giving to us on.
Thank goodness that was a resolution of yours, because we're using that to full.
I know we're leaning into that right now, but you know, it's very important to me, and I know to you too, but I'm a stickler for it, on getting regular episodes out.
Which is important.
No, it is, and I think it does make a difference, and I really feel bad because we may not be killing it on the downloads all the time, but we do have regular listeners that I really appreciate, and so I hate to not get regular episodes out. But again, giving ourselves grace, this has been a rough few weeks. But yeah, should we introduce our new producer that's in studio tonight?
I was thinking that too. I was like, we're joined by a very special guest that you may or may not pick up on in your background. Wilbur.
Yeah, in the midst of all of our craziness, we adopted a new puppy.
Yeah.
We're gluttons for punishment. But no, he's been good, and I do think... Yes, well, he's been fine.
Oh, good. That's how you would constitute it.
No, he has been good. He's just, I mean, he's a puppy, so it comes with some responsibilities that we may or may not always be attentive to. But he is here with us in studio, so if you hear like a weird noise, it's probably him chewing on this ball.
Yeah.
It kind of like squeaks and makes a little noise, but he's being a good boy.
So we had a whole bunch of... Since we haven't been here in 3 weeks, a lot of stuff's happened.
Yeah.
Shoot, I guess President Trump wasn't inaugurated. Well, maybe the next day.
Yeah, I guess so.
Somewhere around then. So however long he's been inaugurated, we have not done anything. So a lot of things have happened.
Yeah. A lot of topics, a lot of discussion.
Yeah.
Has been happening.
We gave everyone plenty of time to find their favorite Bible story. So.
Yes.
That's the purpose of the layoff. But what did you want? You came up with this one. What did you want to talk about today?
So I've had this one this topic in my pocket for a little bit, and it seemed relevant this week. So,
Okay.
spring cleaning.
It's a little cold outside to call it spring clean. It's not even my birthday. We haven't even made it to Lent yet.
Well, look, you have to put these episodes out ahead of time, right?
That's
you
fair.
have to
Give everyone a chance. Yeah.
to
Okay.
like get spring cleaning on their mind, right?
All right.
So, yeah, spring cleaning, and we did recently. The reason I say I've had this in my pocket is, this was several months ago. It was before Christmas. We did a decluttering reorganization.
Yeah, I just
in our
had a
house.
meltdown. Pulled everything out.
That's fairly accurate.
So whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, I think it also corresponded with like maybe some yucky weather. We couldn't do anything outside anyways, and you were like, let's just tackle the inside.
Yeah.
But so a little backstory. We live in an old, well, I guess I can just date it, 1960s farmhouse, ranch house.
Ranch, yes.
Yeah, like rambling, long ranch house. And but the house before this we were in was like completely opposite. It was vaulted ceilings, all open spaces, and no closets.
Yeah, if we could combine the two, it'd be a dream home.
Yeah, maybe so. But I don't know. I have come to really, really love all of our closets.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
Like I didn't know if when we moved to this house, I knew I was gonna like miss the vaulted ceilings and the open spaces and like with the layout of our house now, I wasn't, I just didn't know. I was like, if I ever have my own meltdown and I'm like, I want something different, there's not a lot, like the floor plan isn't super conducive to a simple remodel. But anyways, so I was nervous, but I love our house, and I love all of the different rooms, and that everything has the opportunity to have a home, which is what I'm getting at here. So another interesting tidbit, when we moved into this house, one of the larger closets kind of in the middle of the house, the previous owner had stocked with light bulbs.
Yeah.
And so we've called it the light bulb closet ever since. And I mean, look, we go through a lot of light bulbs, so we've been using that, but also have filled it up with a bunch of other things.
Yeah, there are also light bulbs in there that I don't even know what they went to.
Yeah.
So those are just still there. And then just don't,
We've been
they
like
had a home
theorizing.
there, so we just leave them there.
I know. We're just like, did this person like work for a light bulb company, or were they just like super obsessive
No,
about...
I think they just stocked a bunch for when they were selling it and just left them there. Honestly.
I guess, yeah. But anyway, so we've had this big closet, but it's a light bulb closet. That's what we've been calling it. So the reason that I bring this light bulb closet up is because it's one of the biggest closets in our house, and it was housing light bulbs, as if we don't have something else that we should be,
It houses other stuff too.
It does. It's just disorganized. It's like one of the larger closets, and it's just not fully being utilized. So that, I feel like, is what kind of tipped us in this direction. And also we have other closets.
We didn't redo that one though.
Well, we organized that one a little bit. Okay, in my head, this is what tipped us this direction. Maybe it wasn't, but I guess probably the more accurate thing is that we just got tired of picking up the daily pickup of toys, and we...
It was the other two that we did.
Yeah, I guess so. But
it was the toys that was the tipping point.
Okay. So it was the toys.
And my clothes.
Yeah, that too. So, every day, the parents out there in the same stage as us, you do the daily pickup, and then it all comes back out, and then you just throw it all back in the next day. And that was getting really old, and we were just like tossing things in baskets and toy boxes and all this stuff. and we had these closets. We just didn't have them organized to house a lot of this stuff. So, anyways, one weekend, Brian just lost it and was like, "We're reorganizing these closets and we're putting all the toys in here."
I think I started with my clothes. I think that was the first one I
don't
pulled
even
out.
remember that part.
I don't even know if you were home. You may have like been somewhere, and I just pulled everything out of my closet.
Yeah, I vaguely.
'Cause see, I'm weird. Like my shirts even go in order. Like long sleeves are all together, formals are all together. When things
I
are
was
working
gonna say
well,
when it's clicking on all cylinders.
it's still all clicking. So from whenever we did, yes, it is. Go look in there.
Yeah, the ones that make it to your closet, maybe.
Everything
what about
is
all the
hanging
ones
up right now.
Well, right now, yes. Was it all hanging up yesterday?
No, because I did laundry.
You did laundry?
I washed those clothes.
And then who folded them and laid them out?
The laundry fairy. Like that video I sent you.
I know. Okay. Anyways, so I guess you tackled I vaguely remember maybe that you were tackling your closet first because I wasn't.
Things were going well in my closet, and so I decided, let's just.
I wasn't concerned until you were like.
You weren't home.
No.
You weren't home to start this. You went to like a baby shower or something.
Maybe so, but I wasn't concerned until I got back and you had moved on to other closets, and then I was concerned because I was like.
Step one is you have to pull everything out.
Yeah, it gets worse before it gets better, which I know that's how these things work, but I was just really nervous that you were going to get halfway into this and then just be like, well, okay, I'm not finished yet.
I mean, to be fair, by the time you got home, I think it was after lunch, and all I had done is get things out.
Yeah, nothing was more in order than when I left. So... So yeah, but you did a pretty good job. Like you finished.
I love to organize
most of it. And so what we did, and what I'm getting to very slowly and painfully with all of this, is we basically looked at our house and like our current lifestyle and said, what can we make work better for us? And those closets that weren't being used at that time, because like one of the things that I had in one of those closets was like all of my gift bags and all that wrap and all the, I don't know, party things and stuff. So I moved all that out.
And one had baby stuff.
Yeah. So we packed a lot of that away. We packed my gift bags away in a different closet and just said, these two need to be our toy closets and like have toys and puzzles and, costumes and all the things. And so
the cars are all our boys are into Hot Wheels now.
Yeah,
and
so there's cars everywhere, and then there's all their little figurines everywhere, and so we separated out bins, and we were like, okay, all the characters and
see, I get like OCD. What was driving me nuts was one kid would ask like, "Where's this car?" And it's like, I have no idea. It could be in any one of the rooms in this house because there's literally cars in a basket in every room.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's what
I'm
started
talking
it.
about.
I was like, no, we're going to have, because when I was a kid, and I was the only boy. See, the problem we have is there's three. So, they all come up with stuff, and it's also made it hard to like get rid of stuff.
Yeah, because
as you go, because like the next one may want
the next one will want it.
Yeah, but so when I was a kid, I had one drawer that had every car I had in it, and so I was like, no, we're going to one
consolidating. Well, because it makes it, when we are doing that nightly cleanup that I'm talking about, it makes it feel. It's like it never gets clean because you're just tossing things. Well,
and we realized we were teaching them like not to clean up, just to throw it somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's a bowl. Just throw this.
Just toss it all in the basket, and that's good enough. And it's not. Yeah. So, and I had done this the summer before we did like our quote unquote homeschool the summer before. I had gone through and given everything a home, but it just over time,
and we just acquired more stuff.
Well, that, and you just start mixing things and taking the easy shortcuts and stuff, and
your kids don't always adhere to where you label things as
Weird.
having a home.
I don't know why.
But anyways, it was high time that it was redone. So we got those closets cleaned out, got them organized, got out some I don't even think I really had to Amazon too much. Like
No.
as far as organizing, we just had to kind of like repurpose what we had.
Mm-hmm.
And that honestly it's still working for us now.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but they're still somewhat using it.
Yeah.
And what was cool about that, I'm going into way too much detail of this, but the one closet outside our room is actually really nice. And for a while, and I'm sure this will swing its way back around again, it has like a little nook in it.
Yes.
And our kids have like gone in and talk about like a dream. They've like gone in that closet and played.
And this
for a long
this
period of
hasn't
time.
Yeah, to your point, this hasn't happened in a while since we did that initial reorganizing, but yeah, June would go in there and just close the door. Like his brothers would be napping and he would be in that little closet in the nook with the light on playing with his cars.
Yeah.
And we were like, what is this life?
Or building with the magnetiles because
Yeah.
they're in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's a lot of detail on it. So,
Yeah. But the point is, like I said, I didn't even have to like Amazon us a bunch of organizing things, although there have been times where that's been needed. We just repurposed what we had and looked at things and said, why are all these gift bags in here when I could put them in I don't use them as often. This space is in a high traffic area that would be nice if it was, used for toys. So point is we evaluated what we had, and I think that's relevant for like even if I was thinking about this earlier, if you have a brand new house, I feel like some people are probably good about as they move in, they're being very cognizant of like, okay, let's give everything a good home and what's going to work for us right now. And then some people are just trying to get their stuff moved in, and like we'll figure it out later. I definitely fall into that camp where
think
it's like
most people fall into that
like
category.
let's get it in and then we'll get settled, which is fine too, because there is something to be said about when you move into a new house, you don't know the flow of everything yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so you may think that you have your kitchen down, and then later you're like, wait, I need utensils over here. That makes way more sense.
Exactly.
So there's that. And then, there's folks like us who are moving into a older house. And so, again, you just kind of move your stuff in and figure it out as you go. So I think it's worth thinking about and looking at, because also, as we always talk about, you have different stages of life, and things will inevitably change for us, and we'll want to repurpose those closets for something else at some point. But the point is, you keep laughing at me, looking at like what is working for you in your house and what could work better for you and make your life easier.
Boom.
So yeah, and I think the other thing about doing a spring cleaning, because I was in preparation of this episode, I was thinking about this the last couple of days, and I think a good spring cleaning, not only do you look at your house like I just said and just say like, what can we make work or flow better, or just reorganize to freshen up. Sometimes that's all you need too. Like it just having a different layout of the room, I feel like kind of refreshes your house, and I don't know. But another good thing to think about, and this happens to us if we like host people. We always say how good it is to regularly host.
Makes you do stuff.
It takes the blinders off. That's how I always put it, is like whenever you realize that people are coming over to your house, your blinders for everything that you've like walked past and forgotten about and has just like started to blend into your house, even though it's not in its home or in its place, that all comes to light.
Yeah.
So, for example, again, in preparation for this episode, last couple of days, I was like, okay, spring cleaning. So I was like, okay, we don't have people coming over. We're not hosting anytime soon. Thank goodness. But like, let me take the blinders off. What do I see? And one of the things that I saw was like those, collapsible chairs that we had for
From
Christmas. Still stacked against like
they're
the
just
utility
nice
room
and cozy up against the wall.
when they have a perfectly good home up here in the shop.
Yeah,
But they're just still leaned against our wall.
that's
and
a long walk that I make like 3 times a day. But
I know. Well, that's the thing. That's what I mean by like taking the blinders off. You just get like blind to the fact that they're there. You just walk past them so many times. It's like, okay, well, they just live here now. And so take your blinders off. Like go make the trip to the shop and take the chairs up. It'll make all of this alleviates stress and anxiety to me. I feel like it doesn't matter who you are, what personality type you are. If your life is a little more organized and a little less cluttered.
it led us to do that to our pantry too.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Oh, I forgot about the pantry. That was another big one.
I just realized that.
Yeah, no, that's another big one that we did
room,
recently.
and I was like, oh, we moved our pantry.
Yeah.
That was after.
Yeah. Well, we were inspired still.
Well, and so where I was going with that was, I remember what you said. Because I can go full tilt on stuff, and so once I started pulling things out, I was like, here we go. We're about to do everything.
And
in
meanwhile,
this house.
I'm like backpedaling. I'm like, Brian, let's tackle what we can tackle and get done.
So the metaphor here is know what you can take on with this. Like, don't go all the way in, but doing those, I think we did 3 because I did my own. So 2 closets and then my closet. And after that, we had kind of like, okay, this works. And it got us talking about the utility room,
the next
and
closets,
our pantry. And we actually did the pantry next.
Yeah. No, that was nice.
But it kind of led to that.
Yeah. Yeah, because we have like a small pantry and then like a small utility room pantry area, or what we converted into that anyways.
But we got a bunch of drawers.
Yes.
In our kitchen that don't even get used. So we kind of like
clean those out.
Things that we use every day are in the kitchen in drawers and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was the other thing that got us is, we're our biggest feels super negative to say complaint, but it is what it is. Our biggest complaint about our current house is that our kitchen is what it is, and there's not much. It doesn't have a lot of counter space. Not relevant to,
it's a
I
galley.
guess. Yeah, it's a galley, but and anyway. So we get a lot of clutter, a lot of like kitchen appliances, kitchen stuff, utensils and all that jazz, on like cluttering the counter. And so fairly frequently it's like we have to do an overhaul of like.
Well, and that's what was always hard when we do host
off.
Is like we were having to like almost hide stuff.
Things, yeah, like put things.
Because
yeah,
once again, those things didn't have a home.
Yeah,
so we were just like making up stuff.
Yeah, so that's what we ended up doing is like repurposing one of our quote unquote pantries for more of like a kitchen appliance sort of.
The point of what I'm saying is, if you start down the path on some of this, you can find other things to then tackle next.
Yeah. Well, and once you're living in a house that is operating a little bit better because of the changes you made, to your point, then you get like motivated to do more. So clearly we're headed in a direction here that's going to to overlay on looking at our spiritual lives. Which is it's not.
Nobody's ever done this before, so we're like trailblazers here.
No, but this is I feel like it's not a hard leap here at all to make. And like I said, this topic has been on my list for a while, and then this week I've been trying to keep up or keep pressing forward, I should say, on my Bible in a year reading plan.
Right.
And so we're in Exodus and Leviticus right now, and one of the excerpts was about, and I guess it's early on in Exodus. I probably should have looked this up, but I would say probably Exodus 5 or 6, somewhere around there. And so Father Mike, who's leading the Bible in a Year deal that I'm listening to, we read through, and then he does like a little reflection kind of. And so he was reflecting on we're at the point where Moses and Aaron have been tasked by God to go tell Pharaoh to let the Israelites go.
Mm.
And so here you have this group of slaves, Israelites, and they've just, been slaves for generations, I suppose, at this point. And along come Moses and Aaron, and they shake things up.
Mm-hmm.
But very quickly, Pharaoh's like, oh, if you have time to think about all this stuff, you just need more work. And so he makes their life harder. And one of the points that Father Mike was making is he was like, isn't that something to contemplate that, here they are. It's not like their quality of life, the Israelites' quality of life is great. They are slaves. And yet here comes some change or some people trying to shake it up, and they get mad at them because they're like, you're making our lives harder, even though they're trying to free them. That's just something in and of itself to kind of contemplate. But the bigger point that I really appreciated was Father Mike was making the point that we can be slaves to ourselves. Obviously we're reading about slaves, and we're very far removed from the Israelites being slaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it can be hard to kind of relate your lives or figure out what you're supposed to grasp from this passage and all that. But what the point he was making was we can be slaves to ourselves in a lot of different ways. But are we, we make, in all reality, we set the pace for our lives. We are in control of that.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And but then we're also the ones that say that we don't have time for daily scripture or prayer or time with God. Yet we're in control of all that.
Yes, exactly.
Same way, I mean, you could say this about time with God, your spiritual life, as well as we set the pace for our life and then say we don't have time to work out. We are in control of these things, but we're also we become slaves to them. We become slaves to ourselves.
It's the same way you're talking about the chairs that have been leaning up against the wall.
Yes. Yeah.
I walk up here. My truck is parked out here. So every day
you pass those chairs.
Every day I walk out that door to the truck.
Mm-hmm.
I could have carried one chair at a time and gotten it out 4 or 5 days after Christmas.
Yeah.
But you don't. It's not in your routine, and you gloss over it.
Well, yeah, and it comes down to, I think, priorities, where our focus is. And so, anyways, in regards to all that, in the same way that we kind of took ownership of let's make our house work better for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we have been living the fruits of that ever since. And again, not that it hasn't in some ways lapsed here and there, but that's why you do a regular spring cleaning, right?
Yeah.
You go back and reevaluate. And so similarly, in the way that we kind of took our lives back in that way, I think it's healthy for us to take back our lives and say, are we being slaves to ourselves in a way that is not allowing me to have my time with God, or setting a pace that I never really intended. We just got here,
Yeah. I think for when you start taking this internally, I think this can, for some of us, we're in the beginning of February. If we've been good on maybe some resolutions, because this is kind of the same thing you do with a New Year's resolution. Mm-hmm. Maybe this is a good time to step back and say, am I keeping up with it? Or what do I need to do to ensure that I keep doing what I've been wanting to do for New Year's resolution? For some of us, what we'll be getting into in a couple of weeks is Lent, which is, if you go back, I think that was the first or second episode we ever did. Mm-hmm. And I said, I think way back then, a year ago, when I look at Lent, I look at what do I need to purge, what needs to die from my life, from my routine.
Yeah.
So this is almost like a different angle to look at it from. Mm-hmm.
What chairs have you been walking past?
Yeah.
And
what closet is just stuffed full of stuff that you're not utilizing?
Yeah. But even more so than just purging things, which is part of it and definitely a super relevant part of it. how can you make your life work better for you?
Yeah.
Like, how can you set yourself up to be better? I'll give you an example. Like, there's only so much time in a day. There's only so many times that we can say, like, okay, I'm going to set my alarm 30 minutes earlier, and maybe that works for you. In all reality, it's not. That's not going to work for us right now.
I try.
No, I know. And I'm not even saying we're far from that. We've just been dealing with sickness, so our schedules are so off. But my point is, another little tip that I heard from someone, and I can't remember if she said it on air. It's been one of our guests. I bet they did. When Marty and Lori were on, and Lori talked about needing like in the morning, she's not like a morning person like Marty is. Remember how she was saying
on there, I think.
she would like light a candle and have her Bible time, and he wouldn't mess with her until that
candle was out.
Yeah, out. And so again, for us, like waking up earlier, going to bed later, that's not an option, but I still need to figure out how to reorganize my day to work for me and get my time in. So like tonight, and these are some of the things that you just can, again, get your blinders onto. Our boys are old enough to be told, hey, I'm reading my Bible right now. I'll come help you with your homework in a second.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the things. Our producer's making a lot of noise. Producer Wilbur is into something he shouldn't be. Brian's going to take care of it. But so point I'm getting at is you take your blinders off to, like, our boys in their younger years, they're so dependent on you. You have to be there at their beck and call and their every little need. And until they go to bed, like, they can't be left alone. Well, we're out of that now, but you have to like make that, I don't know, that's kind of like an eye-opening. It's like, oh, this is a new phase. And so that's one of the things that I was trying to kind of take back with my day is like, I can tell the boys, hey, you're still awake, I know, but like,
Right.
I'm going to, this is my Bible time now. So that's one of the ways that I'm looking at my life. And it's not that I'm going to wake up earlier or go to bed, later to get my Jesus time in. But I'm looking at my life and saying, okay, this is the phase that we're in, and this is how it needs to look for me to get my Bible time in.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make any sense?
From what I took in while I was tending to Wilbur, yes.
Okay. Any thoughts from you on taking your blinders off and making your life work for you better?
Well, I think this ties into probably like 4 or 5 episodes we did last year, whether it was...
Doesn't it all tie together?
Yeah, Lent, schedules, all the things, resolutions and stuff. But I think this is just a good, like I said, frankly, we're about to be in the Lenten season anyways.
Which
and
is
so,
going to dive deeper into things.
Yeah, and so this
we
is
should
almost
let
a
go
good
of.
starting point of maybe helping you decide what you need to do for Lent and stuff like that, that we'll get into again on another episode like we've done in the past. But it's a good self-check moment. Just like, frankly, like for me, what we were doing is like you open the closet and you realize all the wasted space you have, how you can make your home more flow better, work better for you. And I think the same thing can happen with your personal schedule of how much flack you may have and opportunity you have in other things for prayer, other stuff, kids, family, even your work can probably flow more efficiently. And there's the when we were using the chairs leaning up against the wall, just sitting there. And I think in our own personal lives, it's like, sorry, how much,
is he chewing on the cord?
no, he just wrapped up in it.
Okay.
How much, TikTok or Instagram are you on taken away from your day or me, I like repeated
to your
TV
point,
shows and stuff.
Yeah. But to your point about like the chairs against the wall, your social media can get that way. It gets to where you open up your phone and immediately, like even though you were maybe going to open up your calendar and look at something, you like automatically open up your social media apps instead, because that's just like what your brain has been trained to do, that you have to kind of reevaluate and take the blinders off to some of those things.
Yeah, and I think our producer's telling us we're done. So,
Yeah.
or he's done being up here. But yeah, we've kind of gone through some of this stuff before. I think the whole point of this is A, organize your closets. B,
make your house work for you.
Yeah,
Make
it
your
doesn't
life
just have
work
to
for
be
you
your
better.
closets. Look at your life and kind of start mentally preparing yourself, because that's a good lead in for the Lenten season that we're going to, that culminates with Easter.
Yes.
So where are we at? Yeah, it's gonna line up. I think we are, with a few weeks skipped here and there, we are almost a year into doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. So our next episode, so I looked it up last night because we were talking about it. And I think we did our first episode, we released it on February 18th. So we are almost at our, how would you say this? Our 1 year podcast anniversary.
I guess so. Yeah. So, which has been, there have been a lot of ups and downs with it, things we didn't know going in.
Yeah.
And so our
Things we had to
next,
figure out.
the episode we're going to do next should be kind of a fun one. And frankly, I was one of the ones out here for years. I talked about doing a podcast. And so in honor of our anniversary, we're going to kind of go through the podcast, how it's been,
what we've learned, how we started,
things we did not know how they were going to work.
Because we've had several people, reach out and ask us different questions about like where, what hosting site or what equipment do you have, and then like I know when we get into conversations with people about it, it always comes up like, what are y'all using, or how do you do, or how is it?
Yeah.
What have you learned?
We shoot from the hip, first off. But anyways, we'll kind of go over that stuff and just talk about how it's been a year reflecting on it. And kind of also what it's done for us as a couple. And stuff like that too.
Yeah, like what we started, how we started it, why we started it, why we've continued it and kept it up, things, ways that we're looking at this differently. And then I did this kind of in our stories probably a month ago, where I listed like some different stats. So maybe I'll gather up some of those to talk about.
And so the big takeaway today, if people are cleaning out their personal closets and stuff in their life, if they need to add us into their newly acquired space, pass that along.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just full of those.
No, that's it. This shameless little plug there.
Yeah.
Listen to our podcast and we'll get your life together.
Exactly. Through our crazy one.
Yeah. All right.
Well, now that we have unpacked all your closets
and spring cleaning,
you go discuss.